Hey everybody out there in cyberspace. We're on internet radio. I'm so glad to have you. You have tuned into Family Flavors to Slide World Broadcasting Network. Follow us on all social media. We are Facebook Live today for those of you who would like a visual of Rachel's Roundtable. I'm your host, Rachel Stovall, your favorite community advocate, always advocating for the health and wellness of everyone in the Pikes Peak region. Man, it's good to have you. As you can tell, I'm in a good mood. Truthfully, I had to recreate over the weekend, right? So, that's a mix of two words. Re and create. Isn't that interesting? That rest, relaxation, and fun would be referred to something that actually helps us to recreate ourselves. Well, anyway, I did that. So I'm nice, I'm rested, in a good mood. Hope you are too. Had a little breakfast, you know how that goes. And all of that puts us in a great position to dive into the Gazette Voter Guide. So this came out on Sunday. You can buy a Sunday paper if you want. I thought it was very interesting that there's an entire section of the newspaper in this first section. Local and state, A4 through 10. Let's dive in. So they're covering everything, and I just think that is kind of fascinating as far as being a voter guide, that this is probably the most in-depth one that I've seen, and that is no slight to anything that's passed. But I think that we have a rich year and a lot going on across multiple races. It's busy, it's interesting, and so it's everything from the U.S. Senate all the way up to, the race that's in your neighborhood. Don't laugh at me. I should probably get those progressive lenses. We used to call those bifocals, but I'm having a grandma moment instead of a grandma moment and don't want to admit. All right, guys. For U.S. Senate, we've got a lot of people running. We have Ron Hanks and Joe O'Dea. And both of these candidates had interesting things to say. They said they told us their top priorities if they were elected. Ready? Ron Hanks says the top 3 priorities if he's elected are national security, border, energy, manufacturing, education, inflation. Joe O'Dea says he's going to Washington, D.C. to fight for working Americans. His focus is on reducing our national debt by cutting wasteful spending, tackling inflation that's crushing Colorado families, and ensuring a strong and secure America by supporting our police and military. I thought that was interesting. So this is the sort of thing that you would want to check out. The U.S. Congressional District for the U.S. House is crowded. Let me just call off the names for you so you can get into this. Doug Lamborn is the Republican candidate who is the incumbent. And so he's running, trying to keep the seat. Andrew Heaton is running, and he's a candidate. Rebecca Kelty is running, also candidate. Dave Williams, also running. Check this out. Michael C. Colombe, I think is the way I'm going to pronounce this. David Torres is the lone Democrat candidate. By the way, Dave's a friend over here at the slide. I'm yet to see the others. You know what? If you want to appear on the round table and tell people what you're doing, come on by. We receive everyone, and we are about the people, not party. So we're all, kind of in on what you're doing, and we don't mind sharing what you're doing. And at Rachel's Roundtable, you'll smile at this. I never argue. I know that's a complete change from Rachel's Facebook page, isn't it? But this is a listening space, and I listen to you, whatever your opinion is, whatever your point of view. I really only ask questions designed to encourage you to keep on sharing with us, to get a little in depth, and maybe even to create a safe space where people can be intimate and be themselves. Some of the folks I've had here before revealed things that we didn't know about them, and they were really interesting things. So feel free to come on, whether you are Republican or Democrat. This is listening space. That's for you. So the guide covers the 4th Congressional District, the 7th Congressional District, the Board of County Commissioners, the El Paso Clerk and Recorder. And I'm going to go on record as telling you honestly, I endorse Steve Schleicher for that position. He has experience, but more than that, we have come to know the man here at the Slide. Deeply kind, interested in homeless, always looking to work a position that he's in to the benefit of the people, done a lot for seniors, helped people who are domestic violence victims stay hidden so that they can be safe from their abusers. I mean, on heart, on balance, on know-how. We just think that he's number one here, and I am pleased to actually endorse him. I have not decided about the sheriff's race yet, so I want to tell you who's running. Greg Maxwell is a Republican candidate. Joe Roybal, also a Republican candidate. Todd Watkins, also. These are the people who have a primary. Now, I could have sworn that the Democrat candidate for that particular race was Mr. John Foley. Let me double check. You see me reading the paper. I know, that's an old school thing, ain't it? I'm not mad, though, if you're not. Indeed. Democrat John Foley is running. I don't know why he doesn't have a campaign phone number, but he does have a campaign email address, foleyforsheriff@gmail.com. I'm deeply interested to talk with all of those running. We've had actually a forum a couple of months ago that you want to look for on Family Flavors of Slide, and we let those who would come out and meet us speak, and they all had some interesting things to say. In fact, it was a very interesting forum. I hope that we have something like it again soon. Okay, there's more. El Paso County Treasurer, State Senate District 9, State House District 14, State House District 17, State Senate District 11. Now you understand why there's like a lot of pages to this section, and why you should probably grab yourself a Gazette and get this for yourself. Now, the voter guide doesn't actually have any endorsements. It's just the raw information, so you can look at who's running, decide who resonates with you, you know, who you're feeling. Maybe go and look at some websites, do some thinking, and be able to, you know, kind of just get a feel for who you think agrees not only with you politically, but has the ability to do the job at all. And this is one of those important things. So that's a lot of what's happening out here as far as the voter guide is concerned. For those of you who go to church, there is a church voter guide, which I believe is available online. Google that. Pikes Peak Region Church Voter Guide, and you will see what different candidates think about different things. And again, you can kind of decide, you know, whose ideas do I agree with, or who do I resonate with, and you can do all of those things. I just want to bring you this information in kind of a raw way to a certain extent. because too few of us actually learn who the candidates are. Checking the box in 2022 may not be the thing that works for you, and let me tell you why. We're in unprecedented times. We have the worst inflation in 40 years, crime rates going up, housing prices through the roof. I met a couple at a baby shower yesterday that literally had relatives from Philadelphia go to stores and ship them baby formula. This baby formula shortage, it's not just a media narrative. This is a real thing that people are experiencing. They'd said they'd been to every store they could find in the area and couldn't find any. And what bothers me about that is, if you're in the position of somehow not being able to feed your child because of shortages, that positions you to where you could look up and somehow lose custody. But this is the crazy part. Will the people who take custody or the foster parents have baby formula either? This has become insane. Everything kind of at all sides. People with stock are freaked out because their stock is dropping. People without stock are freaked out because their dollar isn't bringing enough into their households. This is a serious time, and I am not the person that's about doom and gloom, but I think that it's important for you to know. Likely we are headed into a recession, which means economically we could have things get worse, not better. And this is the time where the people who are going to be in leadership need to be people who actually care. We don't have time in Colorado for anybody up at the State House lining their pockets at our expense. We don't have time for policies that squash us instead of lifting us. We don't have time for anybody to come up with any policy that takes away anybody's business or decides that anybody's job is non-essential. We don't have time for that right now. And yes, you know, we are in that time where we decide who those leaders are. It may be time to tell the truth. If the leader you chose the last time appears to be involved in taking your job, your business, your livelihood, you know, or bringing down mandates that didn't really enhance your life or protect you, it's time for you to do something else. And I don't know what that is. You know, I'm one of those people that is kind of quietly in the middle of all things. I think the word we use for that is moderate. I would kind of prefer centrist, and depending on the subject, I may lean to the right, I may lean to the left, you know. I may not lean at all, I may be solidly in the middle, but whatever I choose is about you. And whatever I choose is also about me. I want government, at the least, not to interfere with me setting up the life I want, at the least. And at the most, I want laws to be able to make my way moving forward as a business person, as a mom, as a grandma, as a caring person in the community, you know, as one who sometimes visits people who are ill in the hospital. I want government to make things easier for me, not harder. And I'm having to tell my own self some hard truths about how that is working or not working, as the case may be. So we're going to take a small break here at Family Flavors, the Slide World Broadcasting Network. I'm going to jump off and I'm going to go pay some bills, hear a little music, keep a good mood while deciding, and then we're going to jump into talking about the actual endorsements. You're going to be fascinated with what they did at the Gazette. I'm fascinated, shocked, stunned, and I don't know how I feel. So maybe we'll work that out when we get right back. All right, y'all. Rachel's Roundtable. We're going to go to commercial break. Get ready to slide. Time for some respect. Thanks for tuning in to Rachel's Roundtable. We've had a little music. We've heard from the sponsors of Family Flavors, this live World Broadcasting Network. Well, some of the sponsors anyway. You can't do that in a single commercial break, can you? And we've been talking about the Gazette and how they brought out their local voter guide for people to have just the raw information all the way around about what is happening. Well, this part of the show, the endorsements that are the opinion of the Colorado Springs Gazette are completely different from the voter guide. So what they did is they did it on different days. The Sunday voter guide with everything in it for you to kind of look at, you have some raw information on some folks, was the Sunday version. Today, online, came the actual endorsements. And this is very, very interesting. Alert! Mail ballots for Colorado's June 28th primary will arrive this week. So get out your black ink pens. A reminder, unaffiliated voters, Colorado's largest voting bloc at 45%, will have the option of voting either the Republican or the Democrat primary ballot. This is the thing I told you that I was a little surprised about with the Gazette, so check this out. We only endorsed in Republican races, as most major Democratic races involve incumbents without serious or well-funded opposition. Democrats control all aspects of the Colorado government, making the Republican primary a contentious battleground statewide and in the Pikes Peak region. I just don't know how I feel about that. I think it's interesting. I think that it's a different kind of move. So if you follow Dems, there's not much information available on endorsement, which is completely different than the voter guide, friends. And I think it's just because they feel like most people who are already in Democrat seats are going to continue to keep those seats. So it's just very, very interesting. So this is who the Gazette endorsed. They endorsed Joe Roybal for sheriff, and they have a whole bunch of reasons why. They endorsed Holly Williams, Commission District 1. This is on the Board of County Commissioners. Remember, friends, people who are on city council don't have the same job as people who are on the county commissioners. County commissioners, they are the ones who make rules, ordinances, and kind of local statutes for areas that are what we call unincorporated, not necessarily part of the city of Colorado Springs, even though they're physically here in the locale. Cami Bremer, Commission District 5, has been endorsed by the Gazette as well. And there's a lot of information about Cami. Rose Puglisi, I think is the correct pronunciation. If I did that wrong, Rose, I apologize. For House District 14. Now, the Colorado House is, think of it this way, every state has their own itty-bitty Congress. So our itty-bitty Congress, this is one of the ladies that has been endorsed for that. In House District 21, the Gazette endorses Mary Bradfield. Now, in the Senate District 9, Paul Lundeen is being endorsed for that. For Clerk and County Recorder, my friend Steve Sliker is being endorsed for that position. For Coroner, and you know what? Who knew that there was a whole office of doctors who handled our autopsies and other things in the region? Actually, Several of them are forensic pathologists. Leon Kelly is being endorsed for coroner. For treasurer, Chuck Browerman is being endorsed by the Gazette. For U.S. Senate, Joe O'Dea is being endorsed. For governor, ooh, drum roll, people, Heidi Ganahl is being endorsed. Some of you may know Heidi from Camp Bow Wow, a pet care franchise across the U.S. and Canada. For Secretary of State, Pam Anderson is being endorsed. For 3rd Congressional District, Lauren Boebert is being endorsed. For 4th Congressional District, Ken Buck is being endorsed. For 5th Congressional District, Doug Lamborn is being endorsed. Oh, and right here in House District 17 for the Colorado House of Representatives, let me just read you this because it's kind of amazing. I'm being endorsed, and I was surprised because sometimes when you're that person, this was not a holiday at the acknowledgement level that we have now. In 2021, the presidential administration made Juneteenth a national holiday. And just at the end of this last session of the Colorado House and Senate, Governor Jared Polis signed into law, not just a proclamation, but actually the law that makes Juneteenth a Colorado holiday. So this is a big deal. One Body Entertainment will present a Juneteenth festival in America, the Beautiful Park, perfect location, from July 17th through July 19th. And of course, we at Family Flavors of Slide, we will be there. Come on out and look for our bright and happy banner. Talk with some of the air personalities from the station that you like. Come out and support your favorite ones. And on Father's Day, there'll be a special musical presentation about fathers, freedom, family, and faith. Of course, being that it's at Juneteenth, it'll be unabashedly and unapologetically black, but also inspiring, patriotic, and a perfect complement to Juneteenth, which is the breaking of the shackles of, things that don't work in this country. I look at Juneteenth as the time where America began to move further into the promises of the rights granted, not given, but granted to a certain extent by the Founding Fathers' documents, our Constitution, and it was an exciting time, and I'm really just glad that we are celebrating on such a big scale, 3 days, the 17th through the 19th. Oh, also, speaking of Juneteenth, City of Colorado Springs will also be doing a proclamation, so you can catch that at 10 a.m. on June 14th. Finally, the Cottonwood Center for the Arts has made one of the biggest steps in inclusion that it ever has, and I just have to give the center kudos for the way that they have become more inclusive to BIPOC communities within the Pikes Peak region. So there is a Juneteenth exhibit, paintings, photographs. There was a beautiful opening the other night with musicians, poetry, and of course the visual arts. If you get the chance to go by and see that exhibit, I encourage you to see it. It is beautiful. It was uplifting. And yes, all art is political, but not in a way that was an indictment on anybody or an accusation against anyone. I feel that more and more people that celebrate Juneteenth have leaned into the freedom that it offers, and they're beyond blame and into how we recognize and expand our freedom that much more. Come on, y'all, jam. Yeah. Everybody comes to Rachel's Roundtable to jam, learn, jump in, have an opinion. Yeah, you guys know what we do.